But the mind just overrides it immediately and keeps on becoming. Yes? Oh, I had this great experience of my own absence. You will never experience your own absence. You're never going to be here to get it, ever. Mm-hmm. People are seeking their own absence, yet they want to have the experience of their own absence. You can't. You're inherently absent. There is no self. So your state is inherently absent. That's why it's filled with obsession about self, because that causes an appearance of self. If you were a self, that's what you would be. There would be no need for selfing, because you'd be a self. But because you're not a self, the appearance of being a self has to be produced by selfing, and it has to be quite a lot of selfing to keep it up, yeah? Because it's like an imaginary bonding to an idea. It's taking mind and bonding it to the idea of being a body, yes? That application can never create the bond, so the glue has to constantly be applied, so it looks like it's sticking. It looks like it's sticking. And then you never even check it, so you assume it's sticking. You assume it. You live under an assumption, and therefore now you're bonded to the idea of being a self. But if you actually looked at it, you would see it's impossible. You would see immediately there'd be a freedom available. Yeah? So this selfing is it's just like a process of a lot of other processes of the body. You don't pump your blood once and that's it. You don't just digest once. You don't shit once. You don't piss once. Well, the same thing in this mental process, it just doesn't do it once because it can't do it. It can only appear to do it. Yeah? So it's a constant sleight of hand. Why do you think you have 70,000 thoughts a day in your head? Is that to do a job? I paint houses. I need maybe about 8 thoughts. You know? Did I bring the paint? I'm never surprised. It's usually 4 walls and a ceiling. I never throw, oh, Jesus Christ. A geometric dome, very rarely, or a yurt or something. But very rarely, it's usually pretty basic. Yeah? And then my head tells me, hey, it's time to eat. And okay, you go eat. You know, maybe takes about 25 thoughts to navigate a typical day. What are the 69,975 other thoughts doing? What? What's all that selfing? Why are you, supposedly life is supposed to be very economical. Why this huge amount of excess thoughts, yeah, just to navigate through a day? Why? When supposedly life and evolution is always about economizing and the fittest gets to go and on and this, yet this seems to be totally wasteful. 70,000 thoughts a day popping up because they're not wasted. They're reinforcing the identification as a self. That's their whole fucking job. Yeah? If you're relying on that thought system and you're listening to it like a radio show, you're going to take yourself to be a self. Quite a lot. Yeah? You're going to fall under the trance because it uses something that we attempt to use with this message, which is repetition. It uses repetition. The same old, yeah. It's like if you go into a barbershop enough, you're going to get a haircut. Yeah? If you listen to that stuff enough, you're going to take yourself to be a self. It's that simple. And then at that point, you want to get immunity, it's too late. Because now it's you identified as self that wants to be free, as a self, which is impossible. The freedom is from self, not as a self. Most people are seeking freedom as a self. That's why it's not working. That's why they leave one path and go to the next path, leave one self-help book, go to the next self-help book, next retreat, different retreat, because it's never ending. Yeah? Because you can't be free as a self. The whole aspect of self is bondage. It's mind being identified with something that it's not. How is that going to lead to freedom? So it's freedom from something. Yeah? So it's a seeing something, and in the seeing of something, if there's been an invitation that you may not possibly be that, the seeing is accompanied with that little idea, hey, I may not be that which I'm seeing, and in that moment, the mind grabs onto an idea or a possibility, hey, if I'm not that, what's next? I can be free from that. Not I can be free as that, but I actually can be free from that. Then something starts working. Yeah? Then the freedom may start downloading. And it's all going to be about from, not as. The mind will keep trying to claim it and turn it into as, and that's what sometimes can happen, but only seemingly. It can never actually be so. So if there's the resting in the absolute, that there never was a self, nor will there ever be a self, yeah? Therefore, whatever presentation of self, whatever strain or whatever melody or whatever little three-penny opera that's produced, there won't be your attention and interest won't saddle up with that act of becoming, yes? Because you become a self by listening to the selfing. That's what happens. For all intents and purposes, at that moment, you become a self. And then there's the unbecoming and the becoming again. It can never be. It can never become into existence. So it can only appear to be, which has to constantly keep going on in time. Yeah? Because if it stops, then there's no appearance to be self. And there's instantaneous, immediate, timeless freedom from that. Yeah? And one moment, one pause of that can make a lifelong impression on the mind. One pause from that constantly saddling up with the interest and attention on the sense of becoming self, one pause from that can initiate a conviction, yeah, a deep conviction of I'm not that. And like the old Who song, you won't be fooled again. You know, they're like a fire of stimuli, and they're conditional old ideas that get cooked and they pop like popcorn. And because you're conscious, there's a seeing of them. But when you're unconscious to the fact that you're conscious, you're taking yourself to be this, then you're not seeing them, you're thinking them. You believe you're the thinker of that thought. You believe that thought's about you. You own that thought now. It's just like if you were in a park and there'd be 30 kids there. Where would your attention go to? Your kid. With all the 30 kids, maybe you'd give a little bit of attention of someone, but basically your intention would be on your kid. Your kid. It's the your, it's the my, it's the identification as, it's the claiming. That's the activity of the bonding. It's not the thoughts, it's not just situations, it's not the condition the body's in, it's the meaning the mind's giving it all. And how that meaning gets injected into what's happening is it's happening to you. That's the bridge. Meaning gets dumped into things, and now you're fighting your own phantoms, so to speak. You're in like a shadow boxing match with you and your things, and now everything that isn't solid, that isn't real, this is insubstantial, this is airy-fairy, this is real, this is what matters. Matter. Everything gets weight. Okay, all right, and I've got to get this and do that and do this, yes? Just one lens, other lens, self-centeredness, constantly ratcheting down. And while you're magnifying all these things, the idea of selfing is being magnified back. The feeling of being a self is getting amplified. You really feel it's true. It's so fucking real feeling. You know, it's like a loop of self-importance, yes? This is important to me. So everything that I meet is just a reflection of me that's meeting it. Every freaking thing. Every relationship I've ever been in, I've been in with myself probably. It was an idea of the person. They're never allowed to show up after that. It's my idea that sets it up. They're framed already. There's like a picture, put it up there. I know her. All right, let's get on with the next one. All right? I know, and then you've already been framed. Every mental state you're having is being influenced by the frame of self-centeredness. And all this takes place is an experience of continual mental states, shifting and coming and going, yes? Continually, that's all that's going on. And every one of those mental states is defined by the frame they're in, and that frame is self-centeredness. If you want to change what you call your experience, change the frame. Change the frame.